Parents, we wish to advise that because of possible harmful elements, certain portions of the following program may not be suitable for young children.
But the thing about Sir Frank, with his advice like, scan not a friend with microscopic glass, I mean, that helped me actively to ease up on whomsoever I thought I loved. Gave me the consciousness not to hang on to the negative side of it, to be more forgiving.
And the book says we may be through with the past, but the past is not through with us. And no, it is not dangerous to confuse children with angels.
Oh, I didn't see you there.
It's like the best one. It's like the best one. You know what I mean? It's just a dumb gag.
Fart.
Yeah. Fart proudly.
So that's not like a joke book, right? That's a...
No, it's for real. It's like really about... And then I got this one too.
History
of farting. But this one, the Fart Proudly, so apparently... And I never knew anything about this. I just read like someone I thought was making a joke about it, but I was reading and I found it. And apparently like Ben Franklin would troll like English. So like, over in Britain, they would have these newspapers and they would, have stories, and then they would have like scientific findings. And then they would give kind of challenges to people like, it's kind of bougie, but it was also, useful, but they would give people challenges like can you figure this out or that out, this is like pre-electricity and shit like that. And Ben Franklin would troll them and talk about farts, and if anyone could find a way to make farts less smelly and offensive, and it's like this is like the whole history of him trolling people by talking about farts. It wasn't just one thing, it was like a bunch. So
and this was kind of, well, my impression was, or my interpretation is like, he just trying to like fuck with British sensibilities being proper.
Yes, absolutely he was like, there's a reason why we left these motherfuckers, so why not fuck with them a little bit, And apparently that was like before a lot of that happened, when they were just over here. And so I don't know, I haven't dove that far into it yet, but I'm really I've got weekend plans now.
I mean, yeah, you got your whole weekend booked with that book.
Yeah.
Dr. Franklin, is there anything you would like to say in closing to your audience?
Yes, I would like to just say this, that if you have to break wind, try to raise up one cheek so it doesn't make so much noise.
Noise is not a good thing?
Noise is a rude thing, particularly at the dinner table.
Okay.
We ever a fan of Mr. Show?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Okay. So the fart guy, the farter.
Oh, shit, I forgot about that. Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah, like it just made me...
totally forgot about that.
Oh, look, at the same party, it's America's eternal teenager, Dick Clark. Hey, Dick. So that's your secret.
And I think the last time we talked, we were talking about, all the cock and ball, games you can do. And I think there's I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there that does that for a living and is like,
well, there was a show going on in the 90s called Puppetry of the Penis.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah.
Yes. And what was that? The Reckless on Broadway. What was that? Remember that little theater that was right on the corner?
God, what was it? The Lakeshore.
I forgot what it was called.
What was it? Well, wasn't it? Was it the annoyance? No, it wasn't the annoyance.
No, it was not the annoyance. The annoyance was on. Yeah,
that's all the way out. Yeah,
further somewhere. Yeah, it wasn't here, and I can't remember it, but it would have. I think it would have films, but it would have a lot of theater and plays and stuff like that. There was a period in my life where, I was curious about theater. What's going on in independent theater in Chicago, and just curious about it. And I was lucky enough to actually see Puppetry of the Penis, and it was amazing. It's great.
Yeah. Was it flaccid enough, or was it in chub mode, or how does that work?
There were no boners.
It's hard to do tricks with a boner. That's for sure.
Yeah. There's only really one trick, and that's pregnancy.
How do you get a witch girl pregnant? You fuck her.
You fuck her, silly. Yeah.
Jokes. What kind of jokes? How do you get a witch pregnant? I don't know. How do you make a witch pregnant? You fuck her.
Oh, Tom, thanks for coming back to the Fireside Chat with yours truly.
Great.
And just a reminder to whoever, I'm looking right at the camera.
Yeah.
Please like and subscribe to as we go along with Angel, and get to enjoy these great chats that we have. And if you haven't, please check out part 1 and 2 of Mr. Tom Anderson from Des Plaines, currently in Tulsa.
That's right.
How you been, man? I know this week has been. We were trying to get together on Monday, but you were having crazy,
Yeah, we had some
crazy.
I don't know if I sent you that picture of the hail. It was about 50 cent piece, 50 cent.
A 50
cent piece of hail, size hail, and that only really lasted for a little bit. But that's the scary thing that I've learned about tornadoes, is that it's not this big, long drawn out event. It's very quick. It could happen just minutes, really seconds. And these big storms will move in, and it'll hit, and it'll be really hard and very chaotic and destructive and stuff, and then move on.
Yeah,
I mean, pretty fast. So yeah, luckily for us, there was no power outages. Kind of on the outskirts of the Tulsa metro, more out in the boonies and stuff like that. I think the power company here said that they lost 1,000 people lost power. So luckily there was nothing else. I hadn't read too much about anything too bad happening, which is good, because a month or two ago there was a gnarly one that hit, and it fucked up a lot of people's homes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, what was it like? I know it was next door. Or was it in Oklahoma, right? Or was it?
Between Oklahoma and Kansas, it was.
That's right. Yeah.
Kind of right along both of those areas, and they got nailed with a no FEMA. So I got apparently the Red Cross is really taken on a lot, which is great, and a lot of individual private donations, and people are helping people with that, which is also very cool and awesome. So they're kind of dealing with that on their own, and it's scary. They just fucking got a bill sent, and I think it's just got to go to the Senate now, which is going to basically fuck with everyone's local insurance. I'm on Sooner Care. That's what we call the state sponsored insurance here. Is whatever, a lot of people have Sooner Care. I forgot what they called it. Medicaid. It's Medicaid.
Yeah.
It's just subsidized by the state, but they're cutting that. And I just read that they're doing that, and they're which will fuck everybody in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And they're also doing it with the supplemental nutrition program, whatever, the SNAP program. They're going to cut like 400 billion from it or something crazy like that.
Well, they just had that. They finally passed that bill. It still has to go to Congress.
Yeah,
but it's still,
everything's been passing. Hopefully that won't. Hopefully they're smart enough for that. But I think if anything happens, that's going to be the fucking wake up call.
I hope
Trump supporters. Hopefully, I don't know. It's like a fucking cult band. Who knows?
I mean, it could be. I know Daryl from the Boll Weevils once said something he's like, man, it's going to have to take a flaming torch right up your butt, like in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, where it's like, here it is.
Yeah, I mean,
here's a little bit of how's your uncle,
Yeah,
I'm like, geez. No, I mean, yeah.
Apparently, something like that, like I don't know, but that was scary to read that. Just like right before I started talking to you, just reading that, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That'll not be good.
I mean, well, despite it all, I'm glad that you're here, and I
thank you.
I really had a good time with you when we talked last time, and
it was great.
Obviously, the response has been through the roof.
Yeah,
with a few exceptions, and we can talk about that in a little bit. But I mean,
sure.
I just honestly, dude, like after the watching the 2 parts, there was something that you, which is, I mean, and feel free to, like, if you have a question for me, I'll gladly answer it. But when we were talking about, what do we look for in friends, what's the recipe?
Yes.
And you asked me, and I'm like, oh, like, I took me a minute to think about it, but I know I said, obviously somebody who's non-judgmental, and I said patience, somebody who's a patient person,
right,
who allows grace, when we're, have to, either we're in our head or we're, whatever, just being cool with us. And then, of course, being authentic. I think we kind of went back on that. Kindness, and great taste in music. And then and there was 2 other ones that I had forgotten that like came to mind. Obviously the things I look for in friendships are like people that enhance my life.
Yes.
Who bring, and it's not about taking, it's just more like, oh, like this is what they're bringing to the table, and it kind of makes me a better friend, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think you get insight from people too, then maybe something you wouldn't have looked at it that way, or it's a different type of situation that kind of opens your mind to a few. There have been lots of times where I was sure that I felt a certain way about something until somebody explained it to me, like from a different point of view, and I was like, never thought of it that way. That's awesome, and cool, and to be not stubborn with that and open, to learning and listening and hearing and experiencing that and hearing it a different way. Yeah.
I mean, you find yourself to be like I know we talked about patience, but do you find yourself more patient than you were when maybe you were younger?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Whatever they call it, flip around, turn that way. Yes, I was very impatient in lots of different ways, and I still kind of am.
Sure.
In the South, things move way slower than they do. Lived in the city for Chicago a long time, up north and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People here in line just, geez, man, it's slow. And there have been times where I've just put my stuff, like Walgreens, just like put my stuff down and just yelled out I've done this several times where I go, I can't do it. Like, I can't do it. I can't justify sitting here for 15 minutes to buy Tums, or whatever it is I'm getting. Like, I can't fucking do it, man. Right. Not. Can't do it.
But yeah.
So, yeah.
But
but that, lots of things. Yes, it's changed a lot for sure.
Yeah. And then the other part, which, and it's something that I try to get better with as I get older, is honesty.
Yes.
Honesty about, my feelings, I guess. And like the big thing for me is boundaries, which that's something that I, as a younger guy, I had a hard time with, because I'm generally a people pleaser.
Right.
So, but yeah, like, and that kind of happened when so I put out the first part of our chat,
right,
and was getting a lot of rave responses. Todd, shout out to Todd Potty, shared it on his pages, and then I posted on my page, and all of a sudden I see an angry emoji from somebody that we know, and I'm like, what is that all about? So I messaged him like, hey, are you okay? And and then he was like, well, it's like, how do I start with Tom Anderson? I go, okay. And basically he was like, ran off this whole list of like all the, your past misdeeds or whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, obviously I get in a panic mode about it because I'm just like, sure. I don't want to offend this guy. I don't know. I
understand that. It is a very hard thing to navigate when you're, the in between two people and stuff like that.
Right.
And there's
and in a public way too, which is
right.
Also like jarring. But then I said like it's like all I said was like, I'm sorry that happened.
Mm-hmm.
My experience with Tom is completely different to every one of you guys,
right.
And I think I said something like, I really love this version of Tom.
Yes.
I don't know if I would have liked Tom.
I didn't like, I didn't. I hated that version of me. And I would say, like, you and I have talked about that. And, I have gotten back to people that I have done things wrong to, and they're 100% right in feeling that way, specifically in that and what I did. And what I would say to the people that I haven't gotten to yet is that I absolutely will. It's a very important part of my recovery. I feel like it's kind of, I don't know, like vague or blanketed for me to come on here and just be like, hey, I'm sorry. I would rather contact everybody personally, and I have, and I will continue to do that and make the amends that I need to make with them, and to let them know that, hey, I was wrong and I'm sorry. I just felt like it would feel really fake for me to be like, to come on here and be like, hey everyone, I'm sorry, and then not not do anything about it. It's bullshit. Like, no. I need to speak to them via, however, I would prefer to do it face to face, and I have done it face to face with a few people. And so that's kind of what I'm doing. The other part of that too, if it was a financial thing, was that I wanted to apologize to them when I had the finances to give back to them, instead of contacting them and being like, hey, I'm sorry that I did this to you. I hope you accept my apology. I'll get you back later. Instead, I would like to be like, apologize and then be like, I'm now sent, how should I send this to you? Right. So I can make amends for what I did. So if anyone is watching this who had something to say before, I am sorry, and I understand, you feeling that way, and I will get to you. I promise that I will. And that's all I really have to say about that. So I don't know how to do this, so I'm trying to do it the best way that I think would. I'm trying to think of it, if someone did that to me, how I would like them to respond to me. And I think that's the most genuine way to do it, is to contact them one-on-one and then make up whatever the amends, whatever the details are in that, and take care of it, all together. Then hopefully we can move on and move forward. And, there's been a lot where I've had to do that. And I had a few people say, that they love me and they're just happy that I'm doing well, and, all of those things. And I've been lucky that way. If someone tells me to fuck off, I get it, if they just say, fuck you, man, that's okay. That's okay too. We don't have to have that, but for me, it's really important for me to at least apologize for what I've done and make amends for that, whatever it may be, one-on-one, instead of like this. No, I'm sorry you had to deal with that too. And it would have stressed me out, honestly, if I didn't have this experience that I've had in this particular type of thing. I wouldn't know how to react to it either. I'd be like, oh man, that's a really unsettling feeling,
Well, so and get that. And it brought, like I said, it just kind of put me in a bit of a panic, because I'm like,
sure.
On the one hand, it's like, am I, is it appropriate for me to give, you a platform if I'm getting this? But then at the same time, it's like I said, like, I really enjoyed our conversation, and I really enjoying how our friendship has been growing since
me too.
since last February. And so, like for me, like knowing that about you and what happened kind of gives me a well-rounded
Yes.
you know idea about you, because like I said, when I did the chat with you, like I barely did any, like I'm gonna like do some research. I mean, I
Right.
much know who you are. I know what you do. But as far as like searching, like, oh, what has Tom Anderson done,
There's a list.
no. And so I chose to just like, let's, I had a few things like notes just to like things to ask in general. Like I just was like, I want to know about you since
Yeah.
so, and that really gave me like a sense, okay, like there's so, and obviously when we talked the last time, you were, telling me about where, what had happened prior to you getting, going through recovery and letting it stick. And it's been what, 3 years you've been. And I mean, and so like obviously I learned a lot from that conversation alone about addiction. And I know a number of people who are recovering as well. And yeah, it's been like eye-opening as far as like just addiction. And of course, I definitely have an addictive personality. So there's things that, obviously kind of steer clear from, and it's been fabulous. But
they say in the US it's 16% people have alcohol and drug problems. That's 15 million people.
Wow.
And those are just the people that admit to it. You know what I mean? A lot of people cover that up or don't talk about it, or don't, you know what I mean? Like, so that number is probably a lot bigger than that. That's right. A lot of people. That's 16%. I would probably guess that it's closer to 25 to 30%, or,
right. That's not that, at least that's not that's under the radar.
Right. And if not higher, and that's a lot of people out there, and that's a big portion of our society. So instead of, like I said, I have a different perspective on it because I've been through it. I'm also currently, going to school to help people who are like me, and that's a big portion of our society. So let's help these people, and they're people that we know, they're people that we love who have this, I don't know, disease, illness, disorder, compulsion, affliction, whatever you want to call it, and it's treatable. And instead of watching people that we care about die or ruin their lives and just leave a trail of destruction behind them, hurting other people, like, we have a chance to help them, and that's why I decided to get into that and do that, where I want to understand me as well, why I'm like this, and why I turned out like this, but I also want to help the people like, and it's a I don't know, it's a strange thing to have that many. To me, it just seems wow.
Like, when did you decide that, in your recovery, that you're gonna like want to help people? Like, how soon from the time you left?
It had been there. So when I was in Chicago, I got sober there, and I was sober for a year, and I didn't no booze, nothing. My journey is long. I've probably been to, I don't even know, a dozen rehabs and detoxes. One where I actually had some time behind it. A lot of them early on in my addiction and alcoholism, I was doing it to shut other people up and just to leave me alone. Like, honestly, yeah. Like my parents, my friends, all that stuff. I was just doing it so they would just leave me the fuck alone. And that way I could come out and do drugs again. They would leave me alone. You know what I mean? And drink, and they would leave me alone. So I could hide it. I went. Anyways, when I was in Chicago, actually in Des Moines, I volunteered and I ended up on a board of a halfway house that helped men get back on their feet. That were dealing with alcohol and addiction issues. And was the first time I started taking it seriously. I'm like, wow, I really enjoy this, really helping me. I never thought in my life before that I could get to a year sober. It was amazing. Just that, though. The other part of it is that I was so fucking angry. Like, I couldn't believe it, how angry I was. But I'm being a jag off to everybody, but I'm so, and that's not good. That's like a lot of people fall into that category where they think they can just be a self-righteous jag off to everyone. But I'm sober. It's not, and inevitably what happens is what happened to me, where I ended up relapsing. And then I got sober, or then I just got off of drugs and just drank for a really long time. And I thought I was okay. Again, I thought I was going to be okay. I don't have a problem with this. And then again, so I'm a knucklehead, and it was a long journey for me to get through that, to realize. And it seems so obvious, but it's not, because it was like 8 years before where I was just weekend warrior drinking. And then after 8 years, it got fucking horrible. And now I'm 100% thoroughly convinced that I can't drink. I can't have a drink. I can, but if I do, I know what's going to fucking happen.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, believe me, there's been times where, well, not really. Actually, when I was in Mexico, like being down there, I was, 2 years in without drinking, and they had pulque, which I don't know if you're familiar with pulque. It's like, it's a liquor from a cactus, or.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. I didn't know it was.
Right, like a slimy milk, but it's very potent and hallucinogenic.
Yeah.
And of course, I had the opportunity to drink it, but I'm like, what would happen if we're in a foreign country?
You'd have thought of that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and all of a sudden I'm like, everything could possibly change, or couldn't, or it could be like my friend Bloody F. Mess when he played in Chicago, and he hasn't drank in like 13 years, but he decided to have a beer, and he had a few beers that night, and he was like, I'm just using it as medicine, which he also prefaced by saying, well, that could be the addict saying that, but
absolutely, yeah.
But he was fine, and he he didn't go into a bender. So
well, that's the thing, is like, and that was and I can only speak personally. I do not.
Everyone has their own journey. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's something else I wanted to talk about how we can talk about it a little bit later, but how everything is individualized with recovery, and that's something that I think needs to change on that. And that's another thing. So I always speak about me. That's what I thought too, because I didn't spin out or anything for 9 years. It's a super long time, for me, just drinking. And I got, like, I say it like this: I got away with it for a long time until, and I again believe 100% with my whole heart, inevitably, that if I do stuff like that again, it will lead me to that. Back, the old school guys call it a yet. It hasn't happened yet.
Oh, a yet?
Yeah, yet.
That's a good. Yeah, that's. I mean, yeah. But yeah.
But good. I'm glad he didn't. That's awesome. Like, myself I am so afraid of that, and I believe it's a really healthy fear that I won't even fucking entertain the idea of it. Like, there's just, and I've thought about it too. Like, I'm on vacation somewhere. I'm like,
you're
good. And I'm like, yeah, well, you're really good at fucking things up. So I am. I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid of the whole thing, and I'm okay with that. Like I said, a healthy fear.
Well, as I said before, I think over text, like, I definitely drank all my drink tickets. You definitely drank your drink and amusement ride tickets for a while.
My resume is padded, good.
So obviously when we talked, we were talking about drinking, how that was kind of the start of, just like, casual, I guess, socially drinking.
Yes.
And it's accepted in the family. Like, when did drugs come in, and like, how did heroin come into your life?
Well, when I was 17, was the first time I got a taste of opioids, and I had there was a burnt out node in the side of my neck. There was like a lump in the side of my neck, and nothing dangerous, nothing bad, anything like that. And had it removed. And, you know, they did after they removed it, did a biopsy. I was fine. Everything was great. And because of that wound and that procedure, they gave me painkillers, and I instantly fell in love with it. And it wasn't something that I started abusing at that time or seeking out, but if they were around and someone had them, I would absolutely take them. And that just kind of gradually kept going and going, where I was like, I would take them, and then, you know, for like 2 days, and I'd be like, oh, that was cool. There's not any more around, whatever. Yeah. You know, I didn't care what was seeking it. And then that, me seeking it out, just grew and grew and grew. And I didn't really start doing hard drugs until like 25 is when I started doing it. It was around the year, around 25, 2000. Okay. 2001, something like that is when I started it off.
Or as I call them, the naughty oddies.
The shitty 2000s. Oh. Everything sucks since like 2010. Everything past 2010 sucks.
Okay, thank you. I always say that the 20 teens were really dark times, like musically. I mean, like, you know, the Mumford and Sons, the Lumineers, the
Jesus
fun,
Christ,
all the worst possible. Blippy,
Blippy. Isn't he in Mumford and Sons? He's like he's the colorful, weird, happy Mumford and Son, Blippy Mumford.
He's the Mumford
asshole. God, I fucking hate Blippy so much. My kid was like had like started like man, Blippy, you know, and we were like, no, we cut that one off. We were like, fuck no, Blippy. Blippy's gone. Yeah. Not doing it.
Yeah,
he went away. He's gone.
Yeah,
I guess he was
never
like
coming back. Yeah,
yes, I guess he was like a prankster or something like that. Like he was like wanted to be like a jackass type guy or something. No. And
right,
you know, the stunts and stuff before he started doing that.
Right. And I mean, I will say, like, that's, you know, as far as like making it on the YouTube universe, I mean, I could never get to that level yet.
Yeah. There you go. So,
that's a yet.
Yet.
Okay, so the 2000s. I mean, yes. I was definitely. I mean, I wasn't messing with a lot of hard drugs, but I was definitely doing a lot of drinking. So you were, and it was like, because I've had friends who got into that stuff, and you know, they would always talk about the days off, like, oh, I took a day off, kind of.
Yeah, Chicago was just, you know, with musicians and stuff like that. Obviously, I would never name anyone's name. That's their story to tell. But a lot of people that we have known and people I'm sure watching would know and stuff like that, and have spun out, and it was just everywhere, and it was different. It was fun, you know, for a while, and then it wasn't. You know, it was just this great, beautiful, numbing feeling. You know, there was a lot of heroin everywhere, and a lot of people were doing it. And it almost was getting kind of in that our little subculture, you know, was getting kind of socially acceptable. Still very much hidden, but you just knew a lot of people did it. And a lot of people would ask you for it, you could get it, or you would ask other people if they could get it. So it wasn't as you know, such a taboo thing that people think. It was everywhere, and a lot of people were doing it, you know.
And that's wild because, and this is, you know, obviously every addict is different, but
yes,
I know with it's always been like a thing where, you know, a lot of that stuff is like done in private, like somewhere off to, at least the ones that I knew, they would go discreetly.
Oh yeah. I mean, there was still that, but there were definitely, I had a core group of people that, you know, we would kind of help each other out as far as getting it. You had to have money, or at least the trust to say, hey, I'll get you back tomorrow. You know, which is usually bullshit.
You
know, for real. But yeah, it was that, and then, you know, Chicago has one of the biggest open market, you know, drug scenes in the fucking country. You know, you can go to the south side or the west side, and there's literally, you know, I 40 blocks you know, where you could buy, where dudes are kicking it on the corner, you know, and you could just straight up drive up, walk up, bike up, whatever, and buy drugs, you know. And in that world, it's a weird, very weird world, you know. I've seen a lot of disturbing things in that world, and yeah, I've seen people get murdered. I've seen you know, just a lot of beatings, a lot of weird, you know, seen chicks blowing drug dealers, you know, dudes blowing drug dealers, all sorts of shit. There, I once, and luckily I got away from it, but they were going to make this chick.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I had my stuff, and she was like getting ready to do it. And I luckily wanted to leave for obviously that reason, but I also got my fucking drugs. I wanted to get out of it.
You're like, okay, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know about this.
Oh boy,
I hope that dog's okay with it, you know.
See, these are the stories that we didn't get during like Dare or
yeah. And there was another one where we used to call them abandominiums, you know, and those are crack houses, trap houses, kids call them. And so you would go into the one, and it was totally abandoned, looked like a fucking, you know, typical crack house on the west side. And they dug a tunnel between these two houses. And you had to go through this tunnel. You go in the one house, you go downstairs, you go through this scary fucking tunnel. You had to knock on this door. And they had like whatchamacallit, it looked like you know, like the gates they put on the windows and with the bars and shit, but it was smaller. They had a lock on the inside. They'd open it up. You give them their money, give them drugs, and go back out the way. So if the cops were watching them, they'd see everyone coming in and out of that house when they were really selling it from the one, you know, next to it. So yeah, just a lot of weird shit, man. Like I met some weird people doing that.
And you would go out there like to the south side or wherever you can find it. I mean, was there
usually
ever like
usually the west side. I wasn't much of a south side guy until I burnt. I met a guy. He was this English guy, and you know, you'll see people like that Kimball Homan bus, man. Like,
oh, I know that bus very well.
Yeah, is just full of them. You know, once you get past North Avenue, it's
it reminds me of Apocalypse Now. You know, going on the river.
Yeah,
it just gets weirder and
just weirder. Yes,
planes
and you know, you just gotta meet people on there. And I met this guy. He was this English cat, and you know, we were talking. You kind of buddy up with him, like you'll see him and you'll kind of gravitate towards him, and be like, hey, let's walk together. You're always safe from someone else. You know, I think I've only been robbed, I don't know, like twice. You know, out of the millions of times that I've been there, you know. Yeah. I've been ripped off a bunch, but like, you know, maybe a dozen times I've been ripped off. I only really was assaulted or had a gun pulled on me twice and robbed on the west side. But, you know, so it's always good to go in numbers. So I started palling around with this guy, you know, you watch others back, go get high, smoke cigarettes, see you later kind of a thing. And we started talking and stuff like that. And he told me he was a counterfeiter and knew how to counterfeit. And he's like, yeah, I just need money to get this paper. And I thought the dude was fucking with me, you know, trying to get money from me, you know, pulling a scam, because that's what everyone does. And everyone's got a fucking game. Everyone's got a scam. They're doing something. And I was like, all right, whatever. I just, I don't know why I gave it to him, but I did. But he ended up telling me the truth. And I guess this guy had gotten busted in other states, and he got busted in England and stuff like that. And he had counterfeit, all the gear or something like that. I forgot who he lived in. I want to say like his aunt or some shit. I don't remember. It's very fuzzy. But he had all the gear. He had a place to do it, something like that. So we went around and we were passing bad bills to drug dealers.
Oh shit!
And just burning them, you know, getting, you know, spending $200 a pop at places and stuff like that. And obviously, if you burn a drug dealer, you don't really want to go back to that area because they will fucking shoot you. You know?
Yeah.
So, like, wow. Yeah. And so that's just one of it. That was like a small, like maybe ran with him for like 2 months, you know, on and off.
Oh, yeah.
You know. And just so many crazy stories, and just the fact that I put myself in that kind of situation, to think of that now, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? You know, like what the fuck? It's a funny thing. You hear it from a lot of people. It's sober, and they're telling stories, and I could tell them now and be okay with it. It's very embarrassing. It's very, a lot of shame in that. It's interesting, it's funny, whatever, but that was like a horrible time for me. And I look at it now, and I've talked to other people about this, and they're like, it seems so far away from who I am now and where I am now. And it's just really odd. And I can, laugh about it now, and because I am far away from it, and it feels good. And it's just crazy, like the stuff I used to do.
I mean, I guess whatever you need to, whatever it is to, as I learn about the anatomy of addiction, the big one, it's like at this point now, it's not even like about getting high. It's just like feeding you're feeding the monkey or the dragon. Just
I mean that
putting you through
that lifestyle is so weird. I can't tell you. Like, I've just met so many weird fucking people doing weird things. I met this guy. So there's this really great place called Southwood, and it's near 26 California at Cook County Jail. And it's basically a free detox, and they'll medically detox you there, meaning they'll use, there's a way that you can use methadone. It takes 10 days. You can get off of it and not have the withdrawal effects. Anyways, it's godsend to addicts. A lot of people go there. They don't really charge you. They don't really ask for anything. And they'll feed you and house you and clothe you and get you clean. And it's a really wonderful fucking place. People there, God bless them, they're awesome people. And they're a bunch. A lot of people will use it as a hotel, and I had to, just to get, they know it. They know that we're going in there just to rest because we're so tired of living like that. But we don't use that to get better. We just go right back to it. Anyways, I met a guy there, and his thing was like, remember we were getting out, we got out the same day, and he goes, and I wanted to use again. He was like, hey, you want to make $200? And I was like, what do I got to do? Here it comes, what do I got to do? And he's like, all you have to do is go into that Walmart and give them this name, and they're going to give you $500, and you give me $300, and you can keep $200. I was like, what the fuck? I'm going to get arrested, blah, blah. And at this point, you just don't care. You're willing to take that risk, unless it's something really fucking stupid, I'm really not breaking anything. They don't have anything on me, blah, blah, whatever. So I go ahead and do it. Sure enough, I get this money. And for a second, I was like, I should fuck this guy and take off right now, But I didn't. I ended up giving him his $300. I had the $200. I'm like, how'd you do that, man? Blah, blah. So we had to tie. He's like, yeah, come on over. He had a house, and his wife was there, whatever. And his thing is that he would go into the white pages. He'd go online to the white pages, and he would call random people. And the white pages are apparently like the place where a lot of older folks still register their names. So he would call people up, and he would act like the phone was ringing. He'd be like, Grandma, and hello, can you hear me? And she would then lead in and be like, Jimmy, is that you? Yeah, it's me. I'm stuck at the airport. Can you wire that kind of shit?
Oh, wow.
And that's how, and this dude it was disgusting because he's fucking with old people. I have a really soft spot for that because my grandmother pretty much raised me. So I don't know how I feel about this. Again, I'm also a junkie who wants drugs. Never did it myself. Normally, like the Tom Anderson now, I would have been like, fuck you. And I would have walked away from it. I just sat there and watched him do it because he was going to have me run and go get the drugs after he got the money. So that was pretty amazing. This fucking guy, then, after he's doing all this, and I'm like, oh, this guy's kind of a scumbag. Even as a fucking drug addict, I'm like, I got to get away from this guy. He's kind of gross. And the one day, like I slept over there for like 2-3 days, something like that. I'm like the third, fourth day, he goes, hey, check this out. We go downstairs, go into this room, and it's full of fucking guns, man. Like everywhere, like on the walls, like in piles and shit like that. And I was like, fuck. And he just looks at me, he goes, you're not going to tell anybody about what I do, are you? And I'm like, no.
You
yeah. Yeah, right. So it was, just shit like that. You put yourself in really shitty situations, and wind up in really weird places. And again, now looking back on it, being, sober and clean and present and getting to where I want to be in life, I can look at it and be like, man, this is fucking weird. It's kind of funny, you know.
You got the full spectrum of humanity from like, you know,
yeah,
well adjusted to like this other crazy thing.
Yeah.
And was your family like, were you keep in touch with your folks, or I mean?
Oh yeah, my poor family. I'm really lucky because I've had the support of my family. My family just wanted me. I mean, they cut me off where they're like, you know, you're not going to stay here. We're not going to give you money anymore. And that was a long, long time ago. And I made do, you know. I was like, fine, I'm going to do this because that's the nature of this. You keep going and going. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, you will keep going. You will find a way to get it. And, but yeah, they've always been supportive of me when, you know, they knew I was done and tired, and they were, you know, willing to help me. And a few times, you know, more than a few times, several, you know, where I've been like, hey, I think I'm done. Where they're like, okay, we'll help you get into this detox and make sure that I got there okay. And just that whole, what I put them through is awful. It breaks my heart. And it's good to hear that they're happy that I'm doing well, and they love seeing that, and that they can talk to me, and, you know, I'm back to being their son, brother, you know, friend, whatever it may be. And that was a lot of stuff that I had to repair. That's like something else that I wanted to say earlier about that is that, you know, these people who are talking about it, rightfully so, who are upset with me, imagine what I did to the people who are close to me. And please understand that I have to, you know, take care of that first, you know, while keeping myself sober and going to school and trying to be the best, you know, father and brother and son and friend that I can be, while I am, you know, paying my bills and stuff like that. So it's hard, but I do promise that I will get back to them. But just imagine the scope of it is, there's a lot in there that I have to, you know, atone for. And
I mean, you know, like just like I said, I mean, it was just like, I mean, on the one hand, like you know, I felt sad and I felt just like confused and just, you know, and but at the same time, it's like, I just see you, you know, you're actually, you know, I mean, obviously we're far away from each other, but I feel like you're doing the work. I feel like you're being sincere and honest about what you did and how, you know, how you got, I mean, and it's like, you know, at the same time, like I guess I felt more kind of annoyed with the public blogging that was going on, you know, and I had to take a post down because I'm like, I don't want to turn this into like a pylon. And so I mean, and that's a whole other discussion about,
well, yeah.
You know, we talked a little bit about just online, you know, discourse and calling.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm actually reading a really interesting book about that right now. It's called, Careless People. And it's this woman who was like in charge of Facebook's like political side. She used to be an ambassador from New Zealand and for other countries and stuff like that. It was her job to get, you know, Facebook into different countries where they didn't have Facebook yet and stuff like that, and all the stuff that they knew what was going on, the bullying, the algorithms causing depression and suicidal thoughts in people. It's a really interesting book so far, and yeah, it's great. The whole tech side of it and all that, I don't get it. I don't know, man. I left it a while ago. I get why some people are reactionary and feel like they have to say something, and that's fine. You know, like I try my best not to, you know, judge other people on how they live their lives, because I don't want people to judge me on how I've lived my life. And, you know, I think that's something for them to take a look at and see if that's how they want to be viewed as a person and stuff like that. If, you know, if anyone does want to get a hold of me before I get a hold of them, you are more than welcome to reach out to Angel, and I give him my permission to, you can give my phone number, you can give my email, whatever.
Yep.
You can call me
Just
straight.
kidding. But yeah,
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 that's the number. Oh, my phone's ringing out. Yeah.
Seriously, yeah. If anybody wants to get a hold of,
Yes.
any comments, complaints, concerns, please send it to care of Tom Anderson, care of A&A Punk Rock Films.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't want. This is also. I really want to say this before I forget. I don't want anyone to think that I'm not taking it seriously when I come on here, and if I were to, laugh or joke around or anything like that, and that's very important to me that nobody thinks that I'm being glib about it or not taking it seriously or anything like that. I very much am, and I very much do, and will continue to take it very seriously. I'm just talking to my friend and having fun. So while talking about some serious things as well. So okay, I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that and people got that.
That I mean, well, there was something like, so obviously with heroin, hard drugs and stuff, and being around people who are also enjoy that. Has there been times when there's like somebody that's like, has there ever been peer pressure to get other people, to try,
No. I was a very selfish drug addict, and I think a lot of true addicts are, especially when it comes to heroin. I think like cocaine and alcohol are obviously more like party, social type drugs. Heroin is like, dude, I need this, and I'm not fucking giving it to you. Like, there's no way I'm giving it to you. No way. Yeah. Just it's a very selfish drug. I think most people. I mean, I'm sure there are. It's a really evil thing to do to turn somebody out, But I never did it personally. I never really had anyone do it to me, like I said, it's a very selfish drug. You don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
So no fucking way.
It's not like passing the joint around or
no, not at all. It's like go and do your drugs in the bathroom by yourself like a normal person, kind of a thing. Yeah. I mean, unless for some reason you came upon finding a gram of fucking dope somewhere, maybe, but no. And I had to deal with that. The last time I was at detox rehab. I'm gonna name a song. I need a vacation that's not a detox or a rehab. I need a vacation that's not a detox. But some chick in there like brought drugs in, which is just fucking evil to bring drugs into a place where people are trying to
I know that's a thing. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, and she was doing them and offered it to another woman who was in there. It was just really shitty. Like, that's horrible. Like that's really terrible. Like if you want to go in there, I've done it. I've gone to rehab before. I had someone bring me drugs. I had like a sock on a string that I like put down the window. Person, I had money in it. Person put drugs to the money and roll it back up. Got high. I didn't share it with anyone.
Right.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
No way. Like, but that which was wrong with me. That's horrible. That was a horrible thing for me to do because people are in there trying to save their lives. They look at my stupid ass nodding off. Of course, being selfish like that, I didn't think of that. I thought, hey man, I'm just going to do these drugs. I'm not being a bad guy. I'm not giving it to them. I didn't realize that everyone fucking knew it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it's
the nature of the beast, man. It just is. It's a very selfish thing. It's also, whatever you want to call it, disease, disorder, affliction, compulsion, whatever, it's also that. It's also, it's a very strange one.
So what would you say as far as films go is the honest portrayal of not only heroin addiction, but the withdrawals? Like, and obviously you've had many.
Oh yeah. I've done it in Cook County Jail. I've done it in my house, on vacation, and nice rehabs and shitty ones and stuff like that, all over. Detox all over this goddamn.
Detox across America.
Detox across America. The realest one is Requiem for a Dream.
Oh yeah,
is pretty right on with a lot of it.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Honey, help us!
I need a doctor, man.
My friend is sick. Need some help, please.
I can't take it,
help
man.
us.
My arm! My fucking arm!
Just hang the fucking top.
No, man!
Help us! Somebody fucking help us, please!
Train spotting's pretty good. I never hallucinated. You know, I think that was a little cinema magic effects there, or whatever.
Is he guilty or not guilty?
Is that our son?
Danny Boyle, yeah,
but the sweating, you're sweating, you're freezing, you can't sleep, you're throwing up, you're puking, your eyes are watering, your nose is running, you can't stop tossing and turning. That's the worst, all of that. And it's like that for anywhere from 3 to 5 days. It's a fucking nightmare. And honestly, like that's kind of the easy part, is getting through that. And then when you're done being, with the physical sick is when the mental comes in, all the things that you've done to get to where you are now. Now I'm completely sober, and really it's like being reborn in a way. And you have to fucking deal with that. You have to think about that. And if you really want to get better, if you're really honest, and that takes a couple of months until you start just physically feeling better. Mentally, you don't start feeling better for about a year. It took me 2 years until I felt better mentally and physically. Physically around a year, physically around 8 months, 2 years mentally. And I had to do a lot of like cognitive therapy and stuff like that. I really had to get in touch with a lot of those things, and how I felt when I was using, like, just a lot of stuff. You really have to, like, basically open yourself up and rip into it and really get it. The honest truth of it is, you can be off of drugs, within 3-5 days, and you're not going to be sick anymore. But it's going to take you about 2 years to really get back to yourself, and that's hard, man. Like,
you've already changed the chemistry of your brain, and
when you start diving into all that and looking at all that and how it changes your chemical makeup, just all of that shit, the neuroscience behind it and stuff like that, and how it fucks you up. Like, it does. It takes about 2 years, and I'm kind of on that track now where, after doing therapy and addressing my mental health issues, I would say just about 6 months ago, I remember saying to myself, this is the best I've ever felt in my life. And it was a beautiful, awesome fucking thing. I struggled the first 2 years. It was a struggle, man. It was hard. I was battling a lot of stuff, but I was also very determined too, and willing to listen.
Yeah, I guess that's the big thing, is just the determination, the willpower, as they say.
Yeah. I think it's just the openness too, to be open to trying things a different way, trying things a new way, and being like, everything that I've done hasn't worked for me. I'm going to try this because this is how I want to not be like that anymore. I don't want to live like that anymore. And I'm so fucking desperate that, I'll do anything, to not feel like that anymore. So yeah, you definitely give it a shot and you try it. And, you got to maintain it, man. You got to maintain it every day. You have to maintain it. That's why I'm not a big fan of like days. How many days sober are you? I don't exactly know. I know whereabouts, I have an idea. Couldn't tell you the exact date, you don't have the countdown. I know it's like September, the first week of September. That's hazy too. I was fucked up when I went to detox rehab. And I'm a very big fan of today. Today. Like, I'm going to say sober today. I think a lot of people get caught up in counting days. I think a lot of people compare it, and then it becomes a fucking contest. And some people feel, I can't tell you how many people I've heard say shit like I feel dumb because I only have a week sober, so I don't know if I should be sane. It's like, yeah, you absolutely should be, dude. It's a fucking miracle. 7 days, like, fuck yeah.
That reminds me of the remember there was that I haven't seen it in a while on Threads. I don't know if you ever get on Threads. So it's kind of like where everybody left, Twitter or whatever,
Yeah.
Musky Dusky.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it was like earlier this year, I kept on seeing these posts, and it was the same one. Like, it's like I know nobody cares to hear this, but I'm 2 days sober.
Yeah.
Or,
it's like, yeah, dude. And do you care? Yeah, it's like, do
right,
you care? Because you obviously do. You're saying something that's fucking great. Like,
yeah.
So. The idea behind it, and I get the idea behind it, is to inspire other people. That's why at AA meetings or any of the A's, that's why they give out the coins. That's why people announce it. It's supposed to inspire people. Hey, if they can do it, I can do it too. I think that's great. That's wonderful. It's the people when they turn it into I know more than you because I have 100 days sober and you only have 30 days. What the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
Like, go away. Like, I don't need to listen to you. Like, it's dumb. I do not agree with it. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. You have 100 days sober. That is fucking awesome, dude. It's beautiful. Congratulations. But do not talk down to the dude who's got 2 days sober.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? And it happens a lot.
That's mind blowing. I mean, everybody's, sobriety day is a happy day, but
it is. It's great. It's today. What are you doing today? Got up today. You weren't fucked up. You weren't trying to get fucked up. You weren't feeling shitty. It's a new day. Get after it. Every morning, I spend 30 minutes just kind of. I don't look at anything. Just kind of take it all in, and I'm super grateful. And I think about, wow, you're here now, and how I thank the universe, for allowing me, showing me how to make and do the next right thing and choosing the right path. And I'm incredibly every day I'm grateful for it, and every morning I wake up grateful. It's not, I got 600 days sober. Look how fucking cool, I don't know what the fuck, dude. I don't know. It's great. I know this works for me, and I want to share it with people and help people with it. But it's just a number. It doesn't mean anything. Today, that's it. Because I know I could fuck it all up tomorrow. I don't care how long. I knew a guy who had 18 years fucking sober. He fucked up his whole 18 years. He fucked up his whole life in about, 45 minutes. That was it. That 18 years doesn't mean shit now. It's today.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad that you remind yourself that. I mean, it's nice to hear from you in the morning too, because it's like, I mean, I wish I could hug you. I could do it like, there we go. He's trying to, I mean, no, it's so I
wish more people looked at it like that, and just in their lives altogether. I call drug addicts and alcoholics sometimes the anointed, because I feel like we've been through hell, we've been through self-created and a lot of really shitty fucking things, and a lot of really shitty times, and have dealt with a lot of stuff and have gotten through it, and we're lucky to be alive. We're lucky to fucking be here, and just look at it and like, man, this is great. Like, this is problems just like everyone else, obviously, but just the gratitude of like, being here. And I think people who have been through that, even people who have been through, other horrible things, kind of look at it that way, where they're like, man, I'm here. I'm doing well. I'm healthy. I'm present. It's a cool thing. A lot of people complaining about life. It's like, dude, this is bonus round, man. I shouldn't be here. I'm really lucky to be alive.
And what a time too. I mean, that's when I quit drinking was right before Trump got elected the first time. And of course, everyone around me was like drinking heavily and just, I mean, it was wild, that first, but I'm like, no, I'm not gonna.
No, don't fall into his trap. Yeah. Into the Trump trap.
I'm gonna stay awake, But, and that's the other thing too. Like when there's that certain euphoria. Like when I quit drinking, I think the first few weeks was like almost like it was high. Like I was just very, like my sleep pattern went back to normal, and I wasn't staying up till 3 or 4 in the morning drinking.
Right. Probably eating better.
Eating better, my poop.
Nobody drinks a handle of vodka and goes home and eats a salad, Still.
I might.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah. Maybe if that's all there is.
In your drunken mind, you're like, I need to eat something healthy. Maybe I'll salad with ham.
I once combined Chinese food in a burrito when I was drunk, and I remember eating that.
I was like,
actually, it wasn't that
bad. I've known a couple like food mixers that will like put like soup and popcorn together.
Oh yeah, that's odd. That's wow.
Soup and
I load my soup up. I love like my daughter Q makes fun of me all the time. She's like, "So why put so much stuff in yours?" I like put crackers in it. You make a grilled cheese sandwich, you tear it up, throw it in your tomato soup. It's awesome. It's great.
I love soup and pizza. That's like
soup and a pizza.
Yeah, a whole pizza.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of soup was
it? So I make lentils. That's like my jam, and chili or veggie soup.
Yeah.
And then make that and then have just like a whole pepperoni pizza. Cut it up. Boom.
That's shit. I'm gonna try
it. Like I don't know if you're a pizza fan. Oh, well, obviously, do you have pizza?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's hard to find good pizza down here. Like the good pizza that I can. It's a lot of like New York City style pizza here, and we all know that sucks. And it's hard to find.
Gonna piss off some New Yorkers out there.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, guys. It's true. We all know it. We all know it.
I mean, Tavern Pizza in Chicago is the shit.
Yeah.
Barnaby's.
Love Barnaby's. Jake's Pizza, man. There was a Jake's Pizza in Des Plaines, and that's my fit. Jake's, Giuseppe's.
Oh man, I got
stuff. Like any place from Chicago, any little tiny place from Chicago, even the chain bullshit I would take right now. The only way I can get a good pizza down here is Frozen. Okay. They have Home Run Inn, and now that's gone. They had Home Run Inn. What? Now that's gone. Yeah, they took it away from me.
Damn it!
You got everyone. They're like, "Why do you want to eat?" Oh, Chicago said you want to deep dish. I'm like, we don't eat deep dish.
That's
like we eat it like once a year. It's usually when somebody comes in from out of town asking for it.
I will say the best stuffed pizza was Art of Pizza.
Art of Pizza was, dude. I used to live close to Art of Pizza. We would eat it constantly, and their stuffed pizza, their deep dish is awesome. You're right.
Yeah,
that's fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, Lou Malnati's I mean, it's overrated.
It's right.
But
I take it right now for sure.
Ooh,
they don't have sauce here. Like they're afraid to put sauce on their pizza. It's like this dried out sauce with like these little rabbit shit pieces of sausage on there. It's horrible.
So what other things that annoy you about Tulsa food versus Chicago?
The weather for sure.
Yeah, we talked about how
it gets too hot. Here's the cool thing about it is that Tulsa is a very progressive city in a very red state.
Right.
So you see a lot of that. Guns, Jesus, and gambling are huge. Here, there's casinos everywhere. There are guns everywhere. Jesus will save you from all of those. And there's just, and actually, it's sad, but honestly, the homeless here are fucking horrible.
Oh,
people say to me, I'll say something about it. They're like, well, you're from Chicago. They must be worse up there. I'm like, no, actually, they're not. I'm like, here they're fucking aggressive as fuck. Like, they'll fucking give me $1. And whenever anyone says that to me, I'll go, try it again. I'm like, try asking me again. Give me $1. Fuck you. I had to hip check a guy. He like came up to me, like grabbed my arm while I was pumping gas, dude. I had to like fucking flip him over me.
Whoa.
Freaked me out. It scared me. And I was like, get the whoa, kind of a thing. And so that the driving here, people suck at driving. I used to have a fantasy. This was back when I was drinking. We used to have a fantasy that I have 2 5-gallon buckets in the back seat of my truck full of hammers, and I would just, roll the window down and just lob them out behind me. Eats marbles. Yeah. Handful of marbles on the street. No, Yeah, they go super fast or super slow, and they don't know how to go around you. You know, this is the biggest one. So you have a left turn arrow, right, and the left turn lane. You go out halfway, right? You wait for the traffic to break, and then you can turn. These motherfuckers stay at the line with the rest of the people waiting at the red light on a green arrow. They'll stay right. They won't inch up. What the fuck is that?
Just slack jawed.
Yeah. Fucking hillbillies.
Wow. Yeah. I feel for you.
Dude, it sucks. The driving sucks, drives me nuts. And everyone here is like, oh, Texas is worse. And I'm like, well, that's great. You know, that's just great.
Thanks for reminding me not to live in Texas.
Yeah.
You're obviously you're there for school, your your
yes. My daughter and ex-wife are here, and I will move. And my daughter Q is 9, and she lives with her mother. See her all the time. Talk to her on FaceTime. You know, great relationship. Good relationship with my ex as well. And I'm going to stay here until she's goes to college, and then I will be moving up north, which is in 9 years.
I mean,
whatever. That's where I'm at. Yeah. So if anyone like really wants to, like, man, that Tom Anderson, you know, I'm in fucking Tulsa for 9 more years, so I'm kind of paying the price that way. Karma is real. So there you go.
Yeah. But you know,
not fun. Yeah.
Right. And like, you know, obviously when we first started talking, you know, I saw you with, you know, you're the family man. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That is wild. And you know,
I love being a dad. It's great.
Yeah. No, I definitely saw the love and joy with him. And, you know, of course, started a pretty popular trend of just photos of her while driving and just like while she's passed out.
Yes. Yeah. It was like the only way we could get her to sleep, you know, was getting her in the car and driving around. And I was always trying to see how fast I could get it done. And I would always have like, finished. Yeah. Kind of thing. It was great. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, I love it. It's fun. You know, you can, I don't know, you get to hang out with this person that you made, and they're funny, and they're beautiful and kind and just cool, and you know, they're a kid. I have a great time together being a dad. It's really fun. And I'm happy that I am able to be in her life and be present and here for it, you know, and that hopefully she will not remember a lot, but I will tell her about it. You know, I will be honest with my child and say, this is what dad went through. Because my biggest fear is that she'll be like me. Yeah. No,
that scares the fuck out of me.
That you know, that shit is real. You know,
yes, absolutely.
I think
that scares me a lot. So if anything, we have a line of defense that way, because, you know, a lot of parents will be like, you can't get away with anything. Because I've done it all. And it's like, well, I kind of have. You know, right. Good luck trying to be high or drunk in front of me, because it's not going to fucking happen.
Yeah. No. But, yeah, man. Wow. That's some beautiful shit there.
Yeah, man. It's, you know, I guess life is a great thing. Have fun with it. Just kind of, you know, I'm incredibly grateful. Like, that's why I have a good time with stuff. That's why I keep my days really full. There's always something to do. I've never understood people who get bored. I believe in that. Only boring people get bored. There's so much shit to do. There's so much shit to experience. You know, like, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say, but like, I'm just incredibly grateful to be alive, and I'm enjoying life. It's really fucking hard. I'm starting my life over at 40 fucking 7, man. You know what I mean? Just like decades of being a fuck. Like, I could easily feel really sorry for myself and be like, I'm 47. What the fuck? I'm just going to keep drinking and doing drugs, you know? It's hard to turn it around, you know? And I just refuse to, you know, to do it, because I'm having a great time. Like I said, I got a little bit of peace, man. Ain't no one fucking with my peace. Not even me.
No, yeah.
That's it.
You with me, Jimmy?
And the book says we may be through with the past, but the past ain't through with us.
We met upon the level and we're parting on the split.
I'm not fucking sleep, Bert.